Okay, this is just running through a CO2 system, so don't be put off by the amount of equipment I'm running. This is quite a high-tech setup. But starting with a CO2 canister, this is about 3.2 kilos. I got this from a company in North Manchester who fill it up for me. It costs me about £5 a fill up, and I have another spare one in case I ever run out. This is a regulator, so it's a separate regulator. There's a solenoid valve. If you follow this tubing here, this white tubing, up to a solenoid valve there, which is a separate unit. This is by Aquascaping. This is a nano. Costs about 45 quid from eBay suppliers. There's a couple of other people out there. I think the solenoid valve was about £40. And that's essentially the solenoid valve is what turns the CO2 on and off, and then this dial here kind of turns the CO2 up and down. I've put a little black mark on it because sometimes you can fiddle around with them when you're taking them off the bottle, so it just puts it back in the same position. So that runs CO2 tubing, not regular kind of silicone tubing that you get for airlines. This is all CO2 tubing. To the solenoid, and then I've got another kind of adjuster, turn up and down, and that runs to an anti-return valve, so this just stops the water coming back down and ruining your very expensive solenoids, and then that runs up to my bubble counter. This is running about 4 bubbles per second. And then this is just normal silicone tubing. This runs to an Aquario CO2 Neo diffuser. You can get these from most stores online. Aquarium Gardens do one. Key to this is that it runs really small bubbles. The smaller the bubbles, the better you get on your CO2. It disperses better into the water. Some of the glass ceramic diffusers that you can buy online, they're not very good. They produce quite large bubbles that will get to the top of the water column, which is never really good when you're trying to diffuse CO2 into the aquarium. And then this little thing here, this is my drop checker. So the lights have just come on now, and my drop checker is a slightly darker green. This will, in the next hour, it'll go kind of slightly lighter green, and that's what you want to see when your lights come on. Now this is quite a high-tech setup, and there's loads of different diffusers and things like that in and around the marketplace. So again, this is a 30 centimetre, my other one's a 60 centimetre. This runs about 20 litres. And then again, excuse the state of the CO2 bottle, this is how I get the refills, but I've got a spare one as well, just in case. That doesn't normally sit next to the radiator. It's just in case I ever run out, I've got a spare one. And then this is a solenoid valve I bought off eBay. A guy who makes these, cost me £20. Again, into the CO2 line, and then that runs around the back of my tank. This is a JBL anti-return valve, and then drop checker. This is running probably a bubble and a half, maybe 2 bubbles per second, but the bubbles are actually bigger in this one than the other one. And that's the problem with some of these bubble counters. The bubbles are sometimes bigger, so when you see people running 8 or 9 bubbles per second, or other people running 4, it's because the bubbles may be a different size. And then this runs into a bazooka. Again, you can buy these on eBay. They're relatively cheap, and the bazookas have really good small bubbles, quite easy to clean as well. And then that's my drop checker, so the lights have only just come on this one as well, so it's quite a dark green, but that'll lighten up a bit later on. Other things you can do when you're planting a tank, I use Flourish XL. This makes carbon available in the water column, and this pumps in around about an hour before the light's on. I've got auto doses on both my tanks, but this just adds a little bit more to the water column carbon, to the water column, as well as the CO2 that's going in. And then on my other tank it's ADA fertilizers, but I use Aquascaping as well. I'm not paid for advertising any of this stuff, just in case the police want to get hold of me, but I use Aquascaping, plant food as well, and ADA the other one. So as long as you've got a really good kind of fertilizer for your tanks, then you can't go far wrong, really. I mean, you can go EI, which, you know, you can buy the salts and everything online, but if you're just starting out on planted tanks, it's probably not a good idea, because you're trying to do too much. If you use a really good liquid fertilizer that's already kind of designed to be used straight off the market, then usually you'll go okay. I don't run EI on any of my tanks, and I've been aquascaping for about 4 years now. So I wouldn't worry about anything like that as well. So that's basically a CO2 system from start to finish. Thanks for watching.